Good morning, class.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, I was hoping we get some few number on board. I was hoping we get some few number on board, but
Sir.
unfortunately, I noticed I noticed I'm not getting the people on board. I assume some people are also clustered over a machine, so um, we've waited for about 8 minutes. I think it's enough for us to start. Or you don't agree? Don't you agree? Hello.
We agree.
Thank you very much. My name is Isaac Natidome, and I'll be taking you through industrial relations and employment relations for this semester. Okay, so before we proceed, we have just 2 hours today. We'll try and exhaust as many as we can. Unfortunately, if we are not able to do that, we'll continue on Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. Tuesday, 7 p.m. Tuesday, 7 p.m. Just an hour, but I'm not sure we'll use the full hour. So let's see how far we go today. Okay, so industrial and employment relations. Today we are looking at the unit one, which is the nature of industrial and employee relations. The question is, what do you understand by this? Industrial and employment relation. I just need a sentence or two, then we proceed. Yes, still waiting. And we can make use of the in chat feature where you can type your questions or your responses as well. Oh, then I guess I'll be calling names then. I'll be calling names then. Collins Nate, what do you have to say about industrial and employment relations? What do you know about it?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah,
Okay, so the basic idea I have is the so please can you hear me? Hello.
I'm here, I'm here, I'm here.
Okay,
I can
so
hear you.
my understanding is how industries relate to each other and certain.
Okay, all right. Thank you for your submission, Collins. Yes, I mean, we say equality, right? So one male, one female. And this time I'll be going with Monica Merriman. I hope hey, she just went offline. Then Gifty.
So it's
Oh, okay.
it's about how employers and then employees maybe interact at workplaces.
Okay. Thanks for
Right.
the submission as well. So,
Okay.
as our colleagues have rightly said, it presupposes that we have an idea of what it is, and that basic understanding we have will be the lens through which we'll be looking at this course. And you would best understand if you try to relate to it than just memorize some few things. So, fortunately for those of us who may be having, who may be in employment, we can be looking at some practical things we are going through to help us remember when the day is due. And you can bring in your suggestions and then examples as well. We are willing to learn from all the vast experience we have on the platform. Thank you. So we'll be looking at the overview of industrial relation. Industrial relation did not come from the sky, okay? It evolved. It came as a result of something, and it emerged during the revolution. So the industrial revolution is categorized by the period where um, people moved away from family businesses to actually expanding the businesses into industries where they started employing more people and engaging the services of people for the purpose of industrialization. And during that period, what happened was people at a point in time, um, employers were looking at people as tools. Okay, they considered people as one of the factors of employment and treated them as such, like land, capital, and so on. However, over the period, they realized that production was falling because people were not satisfied. They were not happy. Hence, they were putting up attitudes that was not leading to the productivity they had envisioned. Hence, they realized that they needed to treat the factor of production, which is labor, differently because it has a human dimension to it. So, trying to pay attention to that is what gave birth to the industrial relation. So, industrial relation came as a framework for understanding the employer and employee relationship. It exists wherever employees and employers meet. So, everywhere there is an employer or an employee, then there is a kind of relationship. And that relationship is what we would refer to in most cases as industrial relation. Sometimes we interchange industrial relations with employee relations or employment relations. There is a difference which we'll be looking at subsequently. However, the bigger umbrella is the industrial relation, and then the employee or employment relations falls under that. So wherever there is an employee or employer coming together, wherever they meet and interact, you know there is a relationship there, and that relationship is what we classify as the industrial relation. Specifically, we can define it as the study of the relations between the parties in the industrial relations system. And my last point has highlighted the main parties to the industrial relations system. So it's a question I'm asking the class, and I'll be expecting one of you to answer. What are the main parties to the industrial relations system? Oh, don't let me be calling your names like that, or else you don't like my matter. Evans, Mauko. Okay, Evans has given us one. He's indicated employees. Mhm. I have already indicated that it is on the slide. You look at it, the last point. Yes, Francisca, you can speak now.
Employees or government.
Employees and government. Okay, not all. All right, so we have the employees, the employer, and the government. These are the main parties to the industrial relations system. So when you look at industrial relation, We are saying that there is a relationship that exists between the parties. So, what are these parties? It is the employer, the employee, and the government. What are the factors of the industrial relations system? There are many factors to the industrial relations system. Okay, nice question from Evans. Evans wants to know, what about the customer and the supplier? Hmm. Yes, class. Are the customers and suppliers not parties to the industrial relations?
So they are.
They are. Okay. Why do we purport that they are?
So
If it,
customers want a good satisfaction from their customer, because at least maybe I'm a supplier, and what I'm maybe this year what you are supplying to me did not meet my customer targets. You have to sit me down and know what's my customer and the quality, and what do you call, the reliable thing that customer, so that me too I can enjoy from the industrial system.
okay. That is the submission. The name, please, so that I'll
I'm just
Josephine. Okay. Thank you for your submission, Josephine. Okay. So now let's look at the concepts again.
Mhm.
And as I indicated, I tried to give you an overview of how the whole idea came about,
Okay.
the whole idea of industrial relations.
Mm.
The customers and the suppliers are very crucial to
But
every
they are not
business. Yeah.
not there. Yeah. Yeah.
They are important to a business.
Yep.
But let's look at how it came about for the name industrial relations.
Okay.
Then we can now decide based on that. We indicated that industrial relations emerged from the or during the industrial revolution. And the question is, I said, what is industrial revolution? I'm saying industrial revolution marked a period in industrialization where people moved away from family businesses or small scale business into large scale businesses and started employing a lot of people. During that period, what happened was that employers treated employees as the other forms of factors of production, like capital, like rent, like land, sorry, land, not rent, like land, like the machines. However, they realize that no, there is a problem. The people who are working for us are getting agitated. They are revolting. They are not happy. They are not satisfied. The land we are using never revolt. The machines we are using never complained. So why is it that, I mean, labor as a factor of production, you are acting some way? Then they realize that, oh, okay, labor has an element of human, has a human element. Hence, it cannot be treated like the other ones. It must be given a certain attention. So that is where they started paying attention to it. Then they realized that they must regulate the relationship between the employer and that particular aspect of the factor of production, which is labor, the employees. So they're trying to create the framework, or a framework that will regulate their relationship, is what gave birth to the industrial relation. So I said, wherever employer and employees meet, there would be the concept of industrial relations at there. Therefore, per the definition, we said industrial relations is the study of the relations between the parties of the industrial relations system. And we know the parties are basically three. They are usually two. However, the government comes in usually in the capacity of an employer. But in cases where there is an impasse, impasse means a situation where there have not been an agreement. You have not been able to make progress. You have not been able to come to a consensus. So in cases where there is an impasse, the government comes in as an arbitrator or a mediator to help resolve it. Hence, the main parties to the industrial relations are these three. And I keep emphasizing the word main, main, main. I beg of you, for the purpose of responding to questions pertaining to this model, you stick with these three. Subsequently, during your master's or your PhD, you can defend the case for others. Okay. I believe you are following, because I'll come and speed up very soon. Oh. The way I'm removing the words one, one. Okay, thanks for your reactions. Okay, so now I'm saying that there are factors to the industrial relations system. These factors could either relate to the worker or relate to the employer. And when we say factors, we are saying things that goes into it, the element. So if it comes to the the employee, what are the things that matter to the employees in the industrial relations? What are the things that concerns him? What are the things he is looking out for when it comes to industrial relations system? So you are saying as an employee or the worker, their focus is on better wages. That is one factor that influences the industrial relations for them. A safe working place or safety in the other workplace. Job security, and I believe we all know what job security also means. That is that security you have on your job. Hence, you know that they will not just send you away. They will not just lay you off. You can at least predictably know that your job is secured. Then collective bargaining. And then the last one we will be considering here will be training at the workplace. Training at the workplace. When it comes to the employer, in the industrial relations system, that means in his relation with the employee, what are some of the things he's looking out for? He's looking out for productivity as an employer. He's looking out for ways to resolve conflicts, either between him and the employee or between two employees. Then he's looking out for the employment laws. What is the law saying, so that I don't find my pertaining to my employee or my worker, so that I do not find myself on the wrong side of the law. So these are the things, the various major parties to the industrial relations will be looking out for. Now that we have understood what industrial relation is all about and some of the factors that influences it or that goes into the industrial relations, what that we look out for, either relating to the employee or to the employer. What are some of the skills one would need to be able to navigate in this ocean of industrial relations effectively? One, a thorough understanding of HR policies and processes. How can you navigate your way through industrial relations and have the best or the most of it if you do not know or if you do not understand the HR policies that are at play in your at your workplace, or the processes there? It's more or less like you are trying to uh, prepare rice and you don't know the things in the kitchen. As a let me be on the gentleman for a while. Yes, you are the one who finished the kitchen with all the things there. Yes, let's assume it's an assumption, please. Now, you have never been to the kitchen. Every day your wife is cooking for you. So you don't even know where the rice cooker is. Not to talk of where the knife is. Not to talk of where the various ingredients needed to prepare your fried rices. And you say, I am going there to prepare fried rice because the kitchen is the place of cooking. No, you need to know the HR policies and processes that are functional in the working environment you find yourself. The second thing is you should have an in-depth knowledge of the employment law and labor markets. You are going, as let's say, you want to navigate your way through there very well to be very effective, get the best out of your relationship with your bosses. Now they decided that, oh, they are giving you 12 Ghana cedis a day. They are giving you 12 Ghana cedis a day. You do not know what the labor law says. You do not have an idea of the minimum wage. So they say, oh, we are giving you 12 Ghana cedis a year. A day. Or let's say 8 Ghana cedis a day. For the whole day, we're engaging you for 8 hours. The minimum of 8 hours a day. You don't know. You would accept it like that. You would accept it like that. Because you don't know the minimum wage. So what we are saying here is you should have an in-depth knowledge of the employment laws. Can you imagine the person is you don't your currently your employer says that, okay, I am paying you 25 Ghana cedis a day. So at the end of the year, which will be 29 working days, assumedly, 29 working days times let's say 20 Ghana, which will give us around 3,000. Hold on for me, please. Okay, sorry. So with the assumption that you are working 30 days a month, and he says he's paying you 20 Ghana cedis a day. So at the end of the month, you are earning 600 Ghana cedis. I believe my calculation is correct. 600 Ghana cedis. Then you go. You not having an understanding of the labor law and the labor market. You go. How can you give me 20 Ghana cedis? It doesn't even meet the minimum wage. It doesn't even meet the minimum wage. If that is the basis of your argument, my question here is, do you have a case? You are arguing that it is not, the salary is not much because it does not meet the minimum wage. My question now to the class is, do you have a case? What is the minimum wage now? I hope the class is not sleeping on you. Hello.
Hello, sir. We are on. Oh, we are on.
Oh, okay. So you want me to be mentioning names? Okay, I'll be doing that then. Charlotte. Yes. Oh, one. So it's two questions I asked. You can answer any of them. What is the minimum wage, or does a person has a case? Those who are shy to talk, type your answer. I will not call you. If you don't type your answer, me, I'll call you. Even if it is wrong, you type. I'll know you are participating, so I'll hardly call you. Yeah, Charlotte. Charlotte Yevuga. You are the one I'm calling on. Hey. Okay. Maxwell Amponsa. Maxwell Amponsa. Maxwell Amponsa. Wow.
Yeah, hello, sir. Please, I'm called to attend to something. Sorry, I'm coming. Sorry.
Okay.
Sir, the for what I know, the maximum what do you call labor is 21.5 or something.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And what you said, the first one, the person doesn't have an AK because he or she doesn't know the labor this thing. So unless when you are like the riots of nowadays, if you have this thing, a coherent, what do you call, an answer to it, then you can go to a labor and tell the master, they are paying, the government is paying this, why are you paying me that? But if you don't know it, how can you argue?
Hmm. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. So as Josephine has said, and then Evans and I think some few others indicated in the chat column, the minimum wage for 2026, I mean, recently that came out, is 21 Ghana cedis, 77 pesos a day. Yes. And if they are calculating that against the month, legally we use 27 days in a month to do that calculation. 27 working days in a month. That is the assumption, that you work for 27 days in a month. So if you do the calculation, it should be somewhere close to 590 Ghana cedis a month. So if you are working anywhere, and they are giving you around 590 or 600 Ghana cedis a month for a regular 8 hours a day job, the person is not going against the law when it comes to your salary. I hope we are not surprised on this.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So as indicated, I'm paying you 600 Ghana cedis and you are telling me that it doesn't even meet the minimum wage. Per the calculation, minimum wage, you are supposed to get around 590 a month. So you don't have a case. And the basis for your case is what I'm trying to tell you, that you do not have a case. You may bring other things on board. You may look at the labor market, get your facts right, and bring some of this thing on board to navigate your way through the argument or the negotiation. However, if you are not very founded in this area, or if you don't do your homework well to know what it says pertaining to your issue, you are not going to enjoy the best or the most out of your industrial relations. Then we move on to the next one: your ability to provide expert judgment and advice to line managers, employees, and HR colleagues. You should be able to do that, be able to give an expertise judgment on matter, not a sentimental judgment. It's not sentimental, but it is a professional one, which is based on facts. You should also have the skill of strong customer service. That is an employee experience in your mindset. You should have that kind of mindset and experience to be able to navigate your way through. Then you should have strong credibility and the ability to influence at a senior level with strong stakeholders, management, and skills. So if as an employee you would want to navigate your way through in that direction, you should first have that credibility. They should believe you at your word. They should know that you are not double tanked. I mean, people should have some level of trust in you, that you are legit. And then you should be able to speak. You should be able to speak, because sometimes you meet the management and you are intimidated. If it happens that way, you cannot say anything. Everything you have, it disappears. It disappears. So these are skills you need to be able to master. You should have an excellent interpersonal relationship skills and your ability to communicate impeccably. And that is what we seek as UCC code. We seek to build and in you. Hence the introduction of the presentations. Fortunately, you started the presentation from your first year with the institution. So as it stands now, it is expected that if I give you the platform, you should be able to navigate your way through the presentation, communicating more effectively than you used to. This one is not part of the class, but it's a side advice. This year, if you do not have any goal at all, please seek to, I'm giving you one goal you should work towards: your ability to communicate effectively. You are able to convey your thoughts, your intentions, your idea almost as clear as you can, so that the other party may understand you as you intend. So by the close of this year, let me say by the close of this particular course, I will judge all that. That one there is my personal thing. It has nothing to do with it. Course. Okay, so then the last skills will be excellent bargaining and coaching skills. Excellent bargaining and coaching skills. Now let's look at the meaning of employee relations. I indicated earlier that yes, we have industrial relations and employee relations. Sometimes they use it interchangeably, but there is a technical difference here, and that is what we want to pay attention to. The study of the relationship between employees themselves as well as between employers and employees is what we refer to as employee relationship. Now, when we come to industrial relations, I may not have laid that emphasis, but for the purpose of clarity, let me lay that emphasis. In as much as it is the study of the relationship between employees and the employer, with industrial relations, because of the word industrial, we are looking at the relationship we are looking at the employees as a group, hence the trade union. Okay, so because of the word industrial, the employees we are looking at them as a cluster, a group, a collective body under the trade union. So it is a study of the relationship between the employer and the trade union. That is basically for industrial relations. And employees relations is looking at the employees themselves. So it is looking at the relationship between one, the employees themselves, and two, the employees, that is the individual employees and management. I hope we get the extension over here. So that is the employees relations. Let me try and cite an example to help those who would relate much more to that. So you are working for me. This is my group. Let's call the name of the group Nyamiabasa. So Nyamiabasa Industry is a company. Now, if we are looking at the relationship between Patience and Samuel and Maxwell and Josephine and Evans and Collins. They are my workers. If I look at how they relate to themselves pertaining to the work, is employees relationship or relations. And if I look at how me, the management or the employer also, I relate to them pertaining to the work, then it's also classified under employees relations. However, if I begin to look at the relationship between all these employees and me, the employer, but looking at it from a collective standpoint, so they have come together to form the trade union, the Nyamiabasa Trade Union. So if I want to engage them, it will be me and their representatives. When I begin to look at it from that perspective, the employer and the trade union, then we would say it is the industrial relations. But if I'm looking at it from the employer and the individual employees, or the relationship pertaining to the work between the individual employees themselves, it is employees relations. I hope this is very clear, so I can proceed.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Maxwell. So we now look at the aims of employee relation. What does employee relations seek to achieve? One, finding ways of resolving conflicts. It aims at finding ways to resolving conflicts. Two, increasing in motivation and morale of the employees or the workers, improving productivity and addressing the grievances and other problems they may have. So these are some of the things employee relations seeks to address. What would indicate that a certain kind of employee relation is a good one? If I go to a company, how will I know that the relationship between the management or the employer and the employees here is good though? What are some of the things that would give me that signal? One, there is a written policy something that outlines everything, a written policy that supports that relationship. Then two, there is communication transparency. Communication transparency. That means everything is communicated without hidden information. Then the next one is management finds a way to always acknowledge hard work. Even saying, oh, well done. It's a way of acknowledging. So if you come to my workplace and then you notice that as I came into the office, someone was doing something, someone submitted something during the meeting, I was like, let's clap for Evans. He did very well. Evans came to class early. He was the first person in class today. You know, the class is our business, so when I say that, relate with it. He came to class early today, so Evans did very well. Evans, keep it up, okay? I have acknowledged his good work. So with time, if someone comes into the organization, the person would easily conclude that, hey, Charlie, these people, they have good employee relations. So why? Because I am acknowledging, or management finds ways, not big ways necessarily, but has found ways to acknowledge hard work. They have also found ways to motivate employees. Motivate employees. Employees must be motivated so that they will avoid this politics. To avoid politics. And employees that are motivated tend out to be extremely or highly productive. So we focus on that. And lastly, we make sure that employees have a clear view of what is expected of them. We call it the role or task clarity. You are at the work and you don't know what they expect of you to do. Today you are doing this, tomorrow you are doing that, you don't know, and then I come, I'm angry. Why didn't you do this? And you said, I don't even know I'm supposed to do it. So every time you are not happy because I am having a problem with what you did, you come to work, you don't know what you are supposed to do. You do A. I said, why did you do A? You are supposed to do B. Yesterday and tomorrow you do B. And I'm like, I can't use your common sense. You should have done A. Oh. So we are saying that for every good employee relations, there is role clarity. Employees know their responsibility. Yeah, Maxwell, you may ask your question.
Okay, sir. Thank you for the platform. So I'm asking about the motivate employees. See, motivation is in two forms, as in the
Okay.
intrinsic and then the extrinsic. So, which one should the employee, come in to motivate? Because for someone to work from this or to bring out the best, it depends on the person. So, how can the employee, motivate the employer? Yeah, the
The
employee.
employer motivate the
Motivate the
employee.
employee. Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there anyone here who would want to attempt before I come in? He has indicated that, there are two forms of motivation. We have the intrinsic motivation, that is from within. The person himself or herself is motivated. Then we have the extrinsic, which is something we do on the external to motivate the person. So how can an employer motivate someone? What should the employer do? Or which kind of motivation is the employer supposed to give to the employee to get the work done?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, your
Let me
name?
let me give my example. When youth of nowadays, maybe you are in employee first, you came here, but some new one came. they are expecting something huge something. So just sit them down and tell them, oh, Charlie, when we started, well, the same. Oh. You use a bad job to get a new job. You get experience, you move on. So at least for now, it's no good though. Nowadays, they want 5 years experience and this inexperience. So if you are leaving, how will you get this experience? So why don't you also adjust yourself, manage it? It's we started it like that too. So why don't you also do it like that? By the time you stay in this job, maybe you took some customers, you can get a new person or something, so you yourself employee can also motivate your other uh, colleague employees. That's me, that's what I do when there's an issue like
Okay, thank you, Josephine. So Josephine spoke from the perspective of a colleague employee
that.
motivating another colleague. Thank you so much. Yes, anyone wanting to speak to the other aspect where the employer, Josephine has started on one side, so let's look at the other side for the sake of time, where the employer is seeking to motivate. We want to know how can the employer motivate the employee to work.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Francisca.
Yeah. An employer can also motivate his or her employees based on promotion or rewards. That's the external aspect. But intrinsic one, when the employee performs very well, you can acknowledge that person or applaud that person. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Gifty, you also wanted to say something. Thanks, Francisca, for your submission. Gifty.
Please, if I hear the question well, how will the employer motivate the employee to do better? Is that the question?
Yes,
Okay,
because he
so
highlighted the fact that we have intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. And from my understanding of the question, he wants to know which of them should the employer focus on and how would the employer be able to do that?
so we said the intrinsic motivation comes from within, okay, where the employer does whatever he or she does because he or she enjoys doing it. And then
Okay.
that kind of inherent feeling. Okay, so if an employer, you see an employee doing all that he or she is doing, the inherent feelings, you can, like what you just said, by giving maybe some verbal accolades. Oh, why are they, like, you've done well, continue, you do well. Giving that verbal accolade can also motivate the employee to do well. And then the extrinsic, you can give rewards, and it's a kakakra, and maybe and some praises from you too. That's okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I believe you are okay now, sir.
Yes, please, sir. Yes, please. I'm okay.
All right, Maxwell. Thank you. So now we move on to the next one. Sorry, but I believe you can hear me clearly. I'm saying this because there is a church close by. They've started using the instruments. I am struggling to hear you, but I don't know if you can hear me clearly.
So we
Can
can
the
hear
class
you.
hear me clearly? Okay.
I can hear you, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. Now, let's look at the difference between industrial relations and employee relations. This difference, I expect that everyone would be able to tell one difference at a go anytime I meet you. If I meet you in heaven, if I meet you on earth, if I meet you during your honeymoon, if I meet you during your fasting period, when I meet you during your exams period, you should be able to at least give me one major difference between industrial relations and employee relations. So the first difference has to do with the category of people involved. With the industrial relations is between the employer and the union, where we know the union is a trade union, right? Then when it comes to employee relations, it has to do with the employee and the employer and the individual employee. So it analyzes the work involving the words individual. I think I have already highlighted this particular point much earlier. Then the second one is negotiation between the employer and the employee. With industrial, we are now looking at the negotiation, not just the relationship, but the negotiation. And with the employees, is the negotiation is between the individual workers and then management and management and management. Then the third one is employee regarded as a collective body. Employees are regarded as a collective body, and that is the name given to the trade union. Okay, when they are considered as a collective body, we refer to them as a trade union or workers organization. Then here, the employees are regarded as individuals. So you realize that the main difference has to do with the categorization of the employees. If we are dealing with employees as a group, then it is industrial. If you are dealing with employees as individual, whether on negotiations, whether on their relationship, whatever it is, if it is individual, it is employee relations. But if it is a cluster or if it's a group, if it is in a union, then we are dealing with industrial relations. This one, I expect everybody to get it fala, to explain it so easy, so that should you see it anywhere, you know it's a bonus point. Now let's look at the perspectives of industrial relations. That is how we look at industrial relations. There are different ways people look at industrial relations. Please hold on for me. Okay. Now, viewpoints of industrial relations. When we want to look at it from the viewpoint of industrial relations are two words that has come together: industry and relations. Let's look at this words into a little detail and then try and look at it when it's put together. What is an industry? Before we go, I moved it to the next slide. What do you think industry is? How do you perceive an industry? Or it's either you tell me that or you give me an example of an industry. So what are some examples of industries? Let's go with that first. What are some examples of industries? Okay, Monica, give me an example of industry. Okay, Collins, I've seen your response. Evans, I have. Yeah, Monica, Brima. Raphael Kofi. Oh, I didn't hear you, sir. You spoke, but it's not clear. Kindly type at the in chat feature, okay? Okay, agriculture, texture. Okay, okay. All right, so as you've indicated, yes, these are industries we can look at, or these are examples of industries. What makes them an industry? What makes them an industry? Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. The examples you've all written is correct. I agree with you. What makes it an industry? What makes it an industry?
Sorry.
Yeah, you may speak, okay?
So the use of resources.
They,
So the use of resources.
the use of resources,
Yes.
okay? No,
Using a raw material into a finished product.
okay.
Yeah.
When, yeah, when
Like
we,
like you have a raw cocoa and you turn it into maybe chocolate or Milo.
okay.
Okay.
I would then ask a question that then the banking industry,
Yeah, my bad.
that one, what is their raw material?
Our raw materials are it's like they are our customers. They deposit the money and we also invest it for them. Mm? Or boss.
Oh,
Like if for our bank their motto is that if the customer is not around, you cannot be there because if the customer bring the money, then you also have your interests. You give us some loans to others so that the others also can come for it, and you also save their own for other treasury bills and other things, and you also send them to some of them to the Bank of Ghana for other investment.
yes. So with that, they are engaged in an economic activity, which makes them, how would I even put it? It makes them an organization. And for this time around, let's say a business organization. Correct. But to cluster them as
Industry.
an industry, let's look at the response Evans and Raphael has given. Evans says that they provide the same or similar service.
No, they don't
Raphael
provide.
says, Raphael says that it's a group of company that serve similar or the same market. And I would go with this to explanation for the purpose
Mhm.
of the class. Now, you said agriculture industry. You are now basically looking at every economic activity or company that is involved in agriculture. It can be animal farming, it can be crop farming. So far as it is agriculture, the person is in the agricultural sector or industry. When it comes to the banking industry, whether it is Zenith Bank, whether it is Susu, let me put it that way, Susu, or whether it is APSA, whether it is GBC, Ghana GCB, whatever it is, because they are involved in the same economic activity, or they are serving the same market or offering the same services, then we say they are the banking industry. I look at Prentex, I look at ATL, which is Akosombo Textile Limited, and some few others, because they are all into the production of materials, cloth, then I can say the textile industry. Now, if I begin to look at certain specific organization, Nezedo Farms, Extra, all those ones, I know they are into poultry. So when I put them together, I now call them the poultry industry. If I look at it from the larger, I can say agriculture industry, that one, it will bring everything in agri under that umbrella. But when I decide to look at it specifically, the piggery industry, that means all the organizations, companies that are involved in that economic activities pertaining to the rearing or the farming of pigs. Is this definition much clearer for us, please? So let's look at the, okay, I've used all the industries, the banking industry, the communication industry, or the telecom industry. When we say telecom industry, then it comes from MTN, Airtel Tigo, the new one, what's the name? The tele is what? Telecell. Then you begin to look in that direction. So with this explanation, I believe we now know what an industry is. We now know what an industry is. Okay, so let's move on. If I speak this way, do you hear? Or I would have to increase my voice? Evans, you are the one responding to me, or your colleagues is like they are bored with me. I don't know.
It's okay.
The reason is,
some of us lose you at the point. We're okay.
Yeah, I mean, the noise is disturbing me. It's disturbing me. And that's why usually I prefer the class to be on Saturdays, but unfortunately, I'm not able to stand noise. So you're laughing at me. It's not easy. So it's I'm struggling now. I'm struggling.
So we can't hear any noise from the background.
Then it's because the app has, yes, the noise cancellation has been employed. Wait, let me change my position. Hopefully it will be better for me. Okay, I think this place is a little better for me. I'm not getting the full wrath of the church. They are telling you should go to church, you see. Okay, thank you for your patience. Let's continue. So an industry is an organized activity where an employer and employee work together. Workers may be employed directly or indirectly via agents or contractors active to engage in activities which include production, supply, and distribution of goods and services for the purpose of satisfying human needs. These needs exclude pure religious or spiritual needs. Whether this economic activity is for profit or not, it is still regarded as the industry. Okay. It includes activities related to sales, promotion, and also business. Oh, they are done with their worship. It's left with the praises. I was looking for my ear plug so that at least it will minimize this one. If you can see, they'll tell you you're a devil. But me too, I'm not a devil though. Or those who can see, do you perceive me to be a devil? Now let's look.
We perceive you to be what?
A devil, like Satan is someone who does not love God. Because it's serious, my ears are aching.
Sorry.
Thank you. If they start preaching that one, there is no problem. Currently, they've stopped the praises, the worship, so the whole place is silent. They are talking, but you cannot hear. And when you go and tell the instrumentalist that, or the sound engineer, reduce the distance, then I don't know why. It's not annoying, so. I'm sorry for bringing this non-far in here. Forgive me. Let's look at relations. Relations has to do with the relationship between management and workers within the industry. They arise at and from the workplace environment. So the relations we are talking about here is work. Oh, please, everything we are talking about here is work. If we were doing marriage counseling, then we say relationship and this thing, then you know the kind of relationships we are talking about. But that's why it is work related. So please, all our examples will be in the confines of work. All the explanation will be in the confines of work. Someone once asked, so say, what about the relationship between the boss and that service personnel? I said, it's not you. So I'm answering the question in advance, please. Yeah, so that is it. Now, it includes relationship among workers themselves. Now, subsequently, these workers themselves, the way they relate, there are policies that guides the way they relate. So in some companies, they even indicate that you cannot marry your colleague. They indicate you cannot marry your colleague because so these are the policies that needs to be very clear. How do we relate to one another? Yes, there may be a casual distance, but there is a particular organization I once worked in. During the orientation, they told us that we know you are in a Ghanaian setting. However, in this office, do not add any prefix to anybody's name, except Mr., Miss, or Mrs. There is nothing, and then don't add a title to an English name. So you can't say Mr. Evans or Bra Evans or Uncle Paul. Uncle Raphael, Auntie Gifty, no, it's not professional. We do not accept that here. They told us point blank, and it's in their policy. Call everybody by their first name. So you know the struggle I went through. I grew up calling everybody bra, sister, bra, sister. The other one, ma, da, ana, wafa, uncle. But they said don't do it. So this is how it is. These policies are usually put in place to regulate the relationship among individuals. I mean, individual workers. It also includes the relationship between workers and employers. Workers and employers. It is extended to relationships between workers and employers organizations. Some of us may not be aware, but we don't only have trade unions. The employers also have their own associations. Not all of them, but there are some employers, they have also formed associations. So sometimes the decision they will be taken, you may think if I leave this place and I go here, I will get it. No. So before you move out, you should have done your homework very well. Then this relationship exists to promote the interest of each group at all levels. Okay. Now, when we put industrial and relations together, we have industrial relations, and it can be looked at from a broad perspective and a narrow perspective. Originally, industrial relations broadly covered all employer and employees relationship. When we first started, or when the concept of industrial relationship first came, it covered every form of relationship between the employer and employees, which swallowed up the HR aspect, human resource management aspect, and employee relations, and the union, and then management relations. All the things was in one, all in one. But over time, it became more specific and limited. It became more specific and limited. So we now were able to separate that from HR. We were able to separate industrial relations to stand alone to become a field of study. Now it focuses on collective bargaining, trade union, and labor management relations, which includes the processes such as collective bargaining and workers' participation. It involves grievance handling, dispute resolution, and conflict management. Hey, Collins, are you there? It's been a while. I saw you type something. Oh, okay. Okay.
We are here.
Now you are Jenna, you are there. Nice, nice. So if I say hello, or if I say, do you understand? At least one or two people should respond. Then I know that you are with me.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Hey, Charlotte, you are now typing the second time. I mentioned your name, sir. You did not respond. Then you came to type the answer. Okay, so when we look at the meaning of industrial relation, what we did earlier was to have an overview of what it is. If I ask you to define what industrial relation is, what are some of the scholarly definitions you can give? Please, I'm not saying that when you are asked to define or explain, this is what you must solely write. No, but I'm just saying that there are instances where you would want to give an authority to it. You might want to communicate it to highlight that there is an authority, the concept. So we have bind and clerk. Others also say clergy. Okay. Bain and Clegg in 1974 said industrial relations studies the rules governing employment and how they are applied and changed. So they said it is the study of the rules that governs the employment and how they change those rules. Other scholars also emphasize that industrial relations involves regulated and institutionalized workplace relationship. So you realize that the focus is on the relationships. So the relationships. There is a relationship in the workplace. Get it. There is a relationship in the workplace. When we talk about relationship, the basic definition or meaning of relationship means something affects the other. Something affects the other. So it can be a good relationship. That means it's affecting each other positively. It can be a bad relationship. It is affecting each other negatively. So basically, we are saying that so far as we are having a working environment, we have people coming together to work, there will be a relationship. One person's activity will affect the other. One person's inactivity can also affect the other. So our focus here is to look at how we can manage that relationship, how we can manage the way they affect each other, how we can manage the way they influence each other. So industrial relations, once we are talking about, just have that bedrock in mind to help you navigate through when you are reading your notes. I believe you have copies of your models already.
No, we don't Not
have
yet.
models.
Okay. Is it that you've not gone for it or it's not been submitted to your centers yet?
It's not been submitted to our centers.
Okay. But fortunately, some of you have the soft copies here.
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay. So I guess you can be using that. My emphasis here is that I would plead with you to start reading now. Okay. Start reading to understand, because this one you can easily relate to it. If you wait to cramp them, okay, except those who are anointed to do that. But if you are not, Charlie, start now. Why? Now, Hyman in 1975 defined industrial relations as it focuses on control processes in employment relations. Early scholars emphasize that labor and collective workers' organizations are the main focus of industrial relations. Now, we also looked at what Flanders in 1965 indicated. He said labor relations study the institutions and rules of job regulations, regulating how employment use rules are created, interpreted, and modified. Hyman in 2007, he improved on what he said earlier, and he says that it focuses on employment rules, institutions, and power dynamics. There is a strong emphasis on collective and institutional regulations of work and employment. So now, we said industrial relations has to do with a relationship, and the relationship is acknowledging the fact that the various parties influences one another. Okay. Now, another thing we are pointing to over here is that this relationship cannot be regulated by assumptions or abstract thoughts. No. So industrial relations seeks to put those rules that can help you manage these relationships effectively. It seeks to highlight them, how you can manage this relationships, how you can manage this influence. What are some characteristics of industrial relations? One, it is a relationship between management and workers. Two, it's a regulatory body. Okay, it has a regulatory body that plays a role in resolving industrial disputes. And usually that regulatory body is the government. Okay. Three, interactions among labor, management, trade union, and employees. That is it. It is the interaction among labor, management, trade unions, and employers. The next thing is that it is a relationship among managers, workers, and government agencies. And then lastly, is for both conflict and cooperation resolutions. It focuses on the attitudes, practices, procedures for managing conflicts. Industrial relations influenced by workplace technology and socioeconomic and political factors. It is shaped by national labor policies and union employer attitude, and also examines conditions and practices that promote labor management corporations. What are some preconditions for sound industrial employee relations? Hey, I don't understand preconditions. Can someone help me? What is it? Preconditions. Pre is two words, so pre-conditions. Yeah, Rini, you can speak. When we say pre, P-R-E, pre, it's a prefix for what? What does it mean? What does the prefix pre means?
Before.
Before something.
Yes.
Before
Yes.
something.
Before something, that is correct. So preconditions. Preconditions, another word for preconditions would be what? So before precondition, when you put it together, it means before conditions. So preconditions.
Requirements.
That is good. Requirements. So when we talk about that, I'm making this emphasis because a question can be asked: what are the requirements for a sound industrial and employee relations? When that question comes, Oye will say that, hey, we have not been taught this thing, but it is pre-conditions. So it's preconditions. And when she says
it's something that should exist before
you can meet up something.
Yes, that is it. So another word you will be seeing in place of the preconditions is requirements. You must be able to meet those things or get those conditions in place before you can achieve the sound industrial and employees relations. So now, the first one is strong independent workers and employers organization with the technical capacity and access to relevant information to participate in social dialogue. If you don't have a strong and independent workers organization, which is popularly known in our parlance as what? The workers organization. Another phrase for that is what? Workers organization. Workers organization. Another word for the workers organization.
Please, will it be the same as trade unions?
Perfect. Trade unions.
Yeah.
Trade unions, yes. So we should have a strong and independent trade union and also employers organization, which is usually known as employers association. Okay, so the second precondition is to have a political will and commitment to engage in social dialogue on the part of all parties. When we talk about social dialogue, it is the negotiation, consultation, interaction, and the share, or basically the sharing of information between these parties to the employment relations, employment relationship. So you should have that political will and commitment. That means you are willing to do what it takes, what is legally accepted, and what it takes to get an agreement, come to an agreement, or get a solution. If you are not politically willing and committed to engage in that, you always run away from the table. You always run away from the conversation. The third one we'll be looking at is respect for the fundamental rights of freedom and association and collective bargaining. This one usually goes to the employers. The employers must respect the right of freedom of association, which means that you must not intimidate your people from forming trade unions or joining trade unions they want. You should not have an influence in the leadership appointment of any trade union executive. You are not even supposed to fund them or give them any form of finance, because it is assumed that it is a way of influencing them or having political influence over them. So as an employer, you must respect that fundamental right. It is a fundamental right. It is in the law, enshrined in the law as a fundamental right, freedom of association, and also to collective bargaining. Then the last one we're looking at is enabling legal and institutional framework. An enabling legal and institutional framework. In Ghana, the labor law has given us this. And so as an organization, you can easily build on it, or at worst, maintain what the labor law has said in this regards. Principles and conditions for healthy industrial relations is what we'll be looking at next. I would call on I'll be calling on you to read out the points. I'll be calling out on about, let's say, 8 people to read out the principles. So when I call you, you read. Okay. When I call you, read what is on the slides, the first slide. Then I'll call the next person. Then the person reads the principles of good industrial relations. This is basically like the preconditions we had highlighted earlier. Okay. So during an examination, if you are asked the requirements, the principles, depending on how you explain them, you'll be able to get your points very well. Because the principles are things you are supposed to go by. The requirements are things that must be in place. Okay, so principles are things you must go by. Requirements are things that must be in place. So if you are able to explain it very well, you are good to go. All right. So as they said, ladies first, and I'll be going for my first lady to read for us. Okay. Mameya Asabia, please read what is on the slide.
Sir,
Yeah.
recognition of collective bargaining.
Mhm. Proceed. If anyone asks a question, you can ask. If not, she'll proceed with the reading. So continue, Mameya.
Okay. Developing proper communication system between management and employees.
Continue. Just continue.
Introducing a suitable system of employees' education and training. Fair redress of employees' grievances by the management.
Thank you, Mameya. Yeah, Charlotte, you may ask your question.
Sir, please can you elaborate the recognition of collective bargaining for us, please?
Okay. So you remember with the preconditions, we had to look at respect for the fundamental rights of freedom of association and collective bargaining. It's basically the same thing here. What we are saying is that you must recognize that collective bargaining is one legal and needed to be able to execute this. I hope you understand. Unless you don't, okay, so let me assume that she understands what collective bargaining is, but Evans don't. So Evans, I'm explaining collective bargaining to you. So when we talk about collective bargaining, we are looking at the negotiation between the employer or the employers association on one hand and the representatives of the trade union on the other hand on matters pertaining to the terms and conditions of employment. So it is a process that goes on, a process of negotiation that goes on. And we are saying that for good industrial relation to go on, you must recognize the need for collective bargaining and also not just recognize it, but we are saying that once you recognize it, let that recognition be seen in the way you employ it or you go about it. Because if we cannot sit down to negotiate, if we cannot sit down to talk about the matter, then what relationship are we building? I have a problem with my wages there or my salary and then other things, compensations and other things. But you have not given us the opportunity to sit down to talk about it. Do you think we will have a very good relationship? And I know the answer will be no. So that is it. I believe it's well explained or understood by you, Charlotte, and then probably your colleagues.
Yes, please.
Okay. Now we go to the next slide. So if there is any point on the slide you do not understand, you draw my attention after the person is done reading for me to explain. If not, I assume it's
I'm there.
self-explanatory because of how short it is. Yeah.
I'm there,
Someone
please.
mentioned my name, but yeah, you may speak.
I want to add to the collective bargaining agreement. It also entails the allowances. Yeah, the rent allowance, utility, transport allowance, and even our leave days. It's all in the leave days, and if the sanctions, if a staff does something which is contrary to the organization, you have to sanction. So with the CBA or the collective bargaining agreement, it entails all these.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for adding to it. We appreciate that. So I believe, Charlotte, you are now satisfied. They have given you dessert. After I gave you the lunch, they have given you dessert. So you should be fine now. Okay, so we move on to the next slide. And the next slide, I'll call on Evans so that for the first time I'll hear his voice. Hey, Evans, Mauko.
Hello there.
Aha, you see, of course, you are not running. You see the way you are panting. Okay, you
Hello
may
there.
read it.
Yes, my network. So, but kindly
Oh,
guide
okay.
me on which of the points there.
No, you are reading everything on the
Oh,
slide. I
everything.
mean,
Okay.
the
So,
projected here.
okay. All right, sir. So, principles of good industrial relations. The first point, so the willingness and ability of management and trade unions to deal with the problems freely, independently, and with responsibility. And then point two, to ensure better working conditions, living conditions, and reasonable wages. And then point three, to make positive contributions for the economic development of the country. And the last point, to develop employees to adapt themselves for technical, social, and economic changes. Thank you.
Thank you, Evans. Okay, so we can now proceed, and I'll call on my next lady to read for me. Um, Currently, this particular uh, lecture is not being recorded. However, there are two groups. I am hoping and assuming that the other class is being recorded so that you have access to it. If not, the class we just had has no recording. Okay. So those who are waiting for a recording, I'm sorry. For this one, there wouldn't be. Let's pray and hope that the other class would record it. I noticed it not long ago. I was trying to do something and I realized it was not being recorded. Okay, so my next Abotre Matri, patience. Patience, please read it for us.
Okay, so tripartite social dialogue. Then the next one is negotiation. consultation and information exchange between and among the different actors. Collective bargaining. Then we have dispute prevention and resolution. And the last one is other instruments of social dialogue, including corporate social responsibility and international framework agreements. That's is it LEAT 2011. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you too. There is a name Gadoto.
Yes, Gadoto, but Gadoto is my maiden name. But since I've used this to register, that's what I've been using.
Oh, okay. Okay. This one is in public. Like I would have asked the current one, but don't worry. Thank you once
So
again.
currently what I'm using is Owusu-Appiah.
Owusu-Appiah. Oh, okay. So now it is Mrs. Owusu-Appiah, not Miss Gadoto.
Thank you.
Okay. Don't worry, if I ask again, it's because I've forgotten. That's how I am. Forgive me. All right, my people, thank you so much. We have covered the fourth session. Let's look at the objectives and then probably we'll be done before the time is up. What are the objectives of industrial relations? What does it seek to do? And I'll be calling on Samuel Chebafo. Mr. Samuel Chebafo, can you please do us the honors? Hey, and people are doing wonders. So, okay, Mr. Samuel Kwao.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please read it for us.
Objectives of industrial relations.
Oh.
Point 1. Protect the interests of both management and labor through mutual relations. Then point 2. Prevent industrial disputes and promote harmonious workplace relationship. Point 3. Encourage full employment and reduce absenteeism to improve productivity. Point 4. Promote labor, management partnership and industrial democracy. Point 5. Support profit sharing and employee personal development. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much. So these are the things an organization is seeking to achieve by the employment of the industrial relation or by subscribing to industrial relations. Thank you. So I'll call on Jenna to read the continuation for us. Jenna Mensah. Hey, Rini.
Hello.
Yeah, let's go on.
Okay, so the first point, we
Yeah,
have
Jenny.
improved wages.
Sorry,
Jenna,
I
you
didn't know
continue.
I was on mute.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know my microphone
was on mute. Okay.
Yes,
Oh yeah,
sorry.
let's Jenna finish, then you continue from where she ends.
Okay.
Improve wages and living conditions to minimize workplace misunderstandings. Enable government intervention and failing firms or industries serving public interest. Bridge gaps among social groups and manage conflicts arising from technological change.
Thank you. So now, Rini, it will be your turn to continue. We want to look at the conditions that lead to in good industrial relations.
So
Let's.
okay, under the conditions we have legal framework,
Mhm,
right,
mhm,
cooperation,
mhm,
trust,
mhm,
dispute resolution, and
mhm.
communication.
Okay, thank you. So the reason this ones I'm making us read through is because it's been coined in a different way in previous ones that has been explained already. So that's why I'm making us just read through this time round. Then we now come to session 5. Um, the temptation is for me to push. Let's do the session 5 so that I do not take your Tuesday. And I can see that. Okay, you let's start with the session 5 rule and significance, which is the importance. This one too, I believe you would understand. So I'll call on Collins to read it for us. As I indicated, please, I would have taken time to explain, but I also want to try and work within time. So I assume some of them you understand them very well. Hence, there isn't a need to go so much, spending so much time explaining. But if you have any question, please ask. Okay. Yeah, Collins, please read for us the
Okay.
significance of it.
Significance of healthy industrial relation system. 1. Increased productivity. 2. Reduced industrial disputes. 3. Increased morale. 4. Minimization of wastage. 5. Industrial democracy growth. 6. Reduce labor turnover. Thank
Yes,
you.
and all these things, I believe, if we think about it critically, we would say it is true. If you have a very good relationship from your workplace, like they have considered, they have paid attention to your employment relationship, you'll be motivated to work very hard. So it will increase productivity. It will reduce the friction between you and your colleagues and you and management. You see, it will increase your morale, which is a form of motivation, and at the end, it will also increase productivity in the long run. It will minimize wastage because we have a very good relationship. I would tell you, oh, Collins, I am doing this, so you do that. So at the end of the time, we don't let me use material, let's say A4 paper craft. Because I've already printed it, we have that good relationship. I communicate to you, oh, it's already done. So you don't have to repeat it. So one, you don't waste your time. Two, you don't waste printing another one. Because we are in constant communication, the relationship is good. You see, industrial democracy, reduce turnover. I mean, if you are happy, you will not stop the job. And so at the end of the day, people will stop if they get better opportunities elsewhere. However, people will not just be living anyhow because they are happy there. It may not just be the salary, but the way they treat them like human beings. They are happy. So that is it for that side of the significance. So the significance is the same as the importance. Collins, please add this 3 to it, then I move on to the next person.
Okay. The next one, essential for the smooth running of an organization. Boosts the morale of employees. Helps better coordination between employees and employers.
Yes. Thank you very much. Now we go to the set session, which will be our last one. We have just 3 minutes. However, this side, I'll give you an overview and then you read from your models. The reason I'm doing that is because once again, it is very simple. The ones I thought were a little technical in the beginning, I took my time to explain so that subsequently you would be able to understand self-explanatory ones such as this. We are looking at the parties that benefit from healthy industrial relations. Now, the parties that benefit from it are going to be, first, the main parties to the industrial relations system. What are the main parties to the industrial relations system? This was the first question I asked. The main parties.
Yes. You mentioned employees, employers, and government.
Thank you. So here we are going to look at them, and we'll be looking at how they benefit. Then we will add the market to it. However, basically, these three people are what we are going to, or three parties are what we are going to look at. So the first one, we are looking at employees. With the employees, we are saying that we can look at it from the employees and their dependents, those who depend on them. How does industrial relations positively affect them? How do they benefit from that? Then we have the employees and their union. So here, unless you are asked specifically, how does employees and their dependents benefit? Unless you are asked specifically, if you are not asked specifically, you can take any of the points under it to indicate the benefits. So if we ask in general, what's the benefit of industrial relations system to the parties involved? It's a broad statement. You can. But if they now make it specifically, how does the employees benefit? How does the employee benefit from industrial relations system as a party to it? Then that one, you can now look at the one we have here. Then you mention that. I hope the explanation is clear. All right, thank you very much. So let me get someone read it. They are just 3 slides. However, they are not details. We'll just read it and then we will be done. So hopefully by 11:35, we will be done. Frank Danso, can you do us the honors of reading what has been projected on the slide?
Yes, sir. Um, Parties that benefit from a healthy industrial relations system: employees and their dependents, job security and reliable source of income, ability to shoulder family and other social responsibilities, possible career development for the worker or employee, commanding social respect and self-dignity, employee and their unions.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Frank. So the employees and their union, there are benefits that they have, and that also will come to that will touch on the salaries and also the peace within the organization and all that. Now let's move on to the employers, and that one I would require Eden. Yeah, Frank, thank you very much. Eden will continue from where you ended.
Okay, sir.
Eden Houghton. Eden Houghton. Hey, Chebafo. Let me go to Che. Please, please read for us. I called on you and I did not hear from you. Thank you for coming back. I believe you can read where you are, Che.
Yes, employers.
Thank you.
Employers or owners of establishment. We have protect their investment, minimize profit or customer satisfaction, expand their businesses, protect and advance their corporate image.
Thank you very much, Sammy. Thank you
You're welcome,
very
sir.
much. Okay, so we move on to the next slide. Adam, I noticed you came on, so you can now read, sir. Adam.
Okay. So, government that six has own rules beyond that of an employer in its own right. One, regulate the employment relationship. Two, regulate the industrial relationship. Three, structural rules.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Then we move on to the last one, and I'll call it a day. And I'll call it no other than Francado.
Sir.
Yeah.
Sir. We have
Yes.
market.
Mhm.
Market. Customers, patrons, rental of the establishment. We have suppliers, community, international interest.
Thank you very much. Okay, class. We have brought our session to a close, and because of your sacrifice of about 5 to 7 minutes, we are done with the whole session. So though Tuesdays 7 p.m. are for me, it is my date with you people. This Tuesday we would not be meeting because we are done. Please don't go and give my date to anybody. Every Tuesday of a week we meet. That Tuesday is for me. If we finish like the way we are finished today, I will not touch it. I'll leave it for you. But if we don't finish, I'll take it. If you give it to someone, the person may think that is a slot. I hope I'm well understood.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. I would request that the course reps get in touch with me. You send me a message, I'll get your contacts. I want to create a WhatsApp page just for this class. Once we are done, you have written your exams and your results are out, I dissolve that group for the purpose of dissemination of information and others uniformly. So I'll create a WhatsApp page for that purpose. Once we are done and your results are out, I'll close and dissolve that page. Okay. So course reps, you get in touch with me so that I can add you and then you add your people. Then the second thing has to do with the groupings. The groupings. I assume that you now have groups for your project work, or you don't have groups for your project works.
No, sir.
We don't have groups.
We are yet
Okay.
So,
Okay.
some of us have.
So you have already groups. So you have old groups there.
Then you can submit those old groups. I don't want to create any new thing to bring confusion. So I just want to work with the ones that are already there.
So the one that
for the various centers.
Okay.
Sir,
yeah, for them.
Sir, some of us have project groups.
Yes, then you can use. You can either use. Okay, let me do this. I requested for the project groups because I thought most of you do not have groups. So with the project group, because you already meet to do your projects, when you meet, you do the assignments and so on. That is the whole idea. So if for your center, the project groups will work for you, I don't have a problem. Submit that list to me. But if not, and you have an old group you are working with, please submit that group to me through your course rep. So course rep, You submit it to me so that at most on our third class, I should have probably submitted, giving you the assignments. I'll post it on our WhatsApp page, which I'll be creating. So please do well to put your colleagues on once I give you the link. Okay. It has been a wonderful class. The name is Isaac Nati Dome. God willing, we shall meet again. God willing, we shall meet again. Is it next week? We are meeting next week, right? Yes, we shall meet
Yes, sir.
next week. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest.
Also,
Yeah.
sir, please
Yeah.
can we have the slide?
Oh yes, you can, but at a fee of $70,000. Yes, at a fee of $70,000. Charlie, now you man has to make money. All those who agree with me, I'll give it to you free. How many of you agree man has to make money?
All of us.
Okay, Patience has agreed. So Patience, for you, I'll send it to you directly through your course rep. All right. I'll try and make it happen.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you once again and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you, sir. Nice Sunday.
Same to you.
Please, colleagues, those of you who will be having a class next with Mr. Mr. Gabriel Annan, if you have the link, you can send it to us through the events management group. Thank you very much.
Please, I want to ask you, the project group, is it the presentation group or what? The one that we use for presentation?
Yes, you can use that one. That one will be familiar with ourselves.
You can use that group.
That's what we have been using. So it will be